We'll proceed in pseudo calculus problems. Okay, very intricate discussion that we are pursuing, that is pseudo calculus problems. So what is pseudo calculus problem? What is very intricate that we are talking now? And in that fashion, we are talking how I can convert any repeated addition into integral calculus. If I have a repeated addition, then how I can convert this repeated addition into integral calculus? What is repeated addition? Consider a case, simple case. I have, if I can divide the worldwide population into many orthogonal axes. What is orthogonal axis? I can divide worldwide into many orthogonal axes. Okay, I can divide worldwide into many orthogonal axes. What is orthogonal axis? Generally, people think x-axis, y-axis, z-axis is orthogonal axis. What is orthogonal axis? Orthogonal means 90 degree to each other. What is 90 degree to each other? Consider this one. Okay, this is one axis and this is another axis. Okay, in that fashion, if I okay, I'll try again. Consider there is a wind, there is a wind that is going towards east north. A person is standing at the origin. He is standing on a ground, and now ground, natural ground, big ground is there. There is a big ground is there, and one point he consider it is origin. A particular point he consider it as origin. In that fashion, he draw one line toward east and he consider it as x-axis. One line he draws toward north and he consider it as y-axis. One line he is drawing towards west and he consider it as minus x-axis, and towards south he considered minus y-axis. Now there is a way. Now that person is going towards east direction. Person is going towards east direction, and there is a wind that is blowing or flowing, wind that is blowing in east north direction. Person is moving east direction, wind is blowing in east north direction. If this is east and this is north, okay, so person is going in east direction. This is origin, and person is going in east direction. And this is north direction, this is west direction, and this is south direction. A wind is blowing in northeast direction. Now question is arising, if person is getting any assistance from the wind. Certainly he is getting the assistance from the wind. The wind angle toward the east, it is less, then more assistance he is getting. If wind angle is more, then less assistance is getting. Okay, if wind is 120 degree, then he is getting not assistance, but it is something like that resistance from the wind. Wind is going towards this, he is moving toward this. Means either he is getting assistance or he is getting resistance. Is there any point where wind has no effect on the person? If wind flows exactly 90 degree from the person movement toward the north, then person movement is unaffected. Doesn't matter. Okay, it does not matter. So this is called orthogonal axis. Orthogonal axis means if two axes are orthogonal, if I do anything in other axis, its effect will not fall on the first axis. These are called orthogonal axes. Okay. Now in that fashion, I am dividing the world population into orthogonal axis. Can you disclose what is orthogonal axis? World, the number of people living in world, they can have different characteristics. One characteristic is they belong to a particular country. They belong to a particular country. Like they belong to Switzerland. They belong to they belong to France, they belong to Germany, they belong to Nigeria, they belong to South Africa, they belong to Brazil, they belong to India, and they belong to Pakistan, they belong to Iran. So a person has a characteristic that he belongs to a particular country. If someone is asked, you belong to which place? Then someone would reply, I belong to Switzerland. Okay, I am a Swiss. I am belong to Switzerland. Okay, thank you very much. Miss, this is one axis that he belongs to Switzerland. What is your another characteristic? I speak German, but you are not from Germany. Yeah, I'm not from Germany, but I speak German. I am a Swiss German. Okay, looks like there is another axis we have found now. What is your another axis? Another axis is language. There are many languages. A person belongs to a particular language. Okay, a person speaks German, a person speaks Hindi, a person speaks Urdu, a person speaks, there can be a bilingual also. We are not talking about it. A person speaks Brazilian language, a person speaks United States English. So a person speaks different language. A person has two characteristics now. He can be a German, he can be a Swiss, he can be Nigerian, he can be Argentinian, he can be from the Ecuadorian. That is one axis. This is typically called language axis. There, this is typically called geographical axis, where person belongs to many countries. Okay, country by country. So if I have n number of people in the world, then if this is x-axis and belongs to the country, then few, first few first few section is for Swiss, then Germany, then France, then Nigeria, then India, then United States, like that. There is a patch and there is a section in the x-axis, and each section belongs to population of a particular country. If I talk about y-axis, that is orthogonal, same people. Now they are divided into languages. Person is speaking Urdu, person is speaking English, person is speaking German. Now, if I draw x-axis, x-axis and y-axis, this x-axis belongs to country and y-axis belongs to language. Now, if I see this as German language and see this as country, then German language being spoken by many people many people in the country. If I say German is being spoken by all the people, means in every country few people are speak German, if I know like that. And in Germany country, most of the people speak German. But Switzerland, France, Nigeria, everywhere you find some people they speak German. That is their native. A question is arising that how many people speak German? How many people speak German? Then I go to Germany axis and quickly find out, I'm sorry, I go to the language axis and I quickly found out that how many people speak German. Or is there any other way? I go in the country section. I don't go in the language section, I go into the country section. And then I find the width of that country, means population of the country. Width by width, I believe I'm talking all right. It is understandable. If this is country axis and this is language axis, in this country axis, I have divided into n section. N section is number of countries. In each section, we have number of people. So this n section width will be different. Make sense? Because population is different. The biggest one will be India, and second biggest one will be China, and both are in Asia. Anyway, now if I see this as a kind of consider this is a country called Switzerland, this is country called France, this is country called Nigeria. Like that, countries are there. This axis is for language. First language is German. Now I'm trying to find how many people speak German. Is it is same as how what is the population of France? What I'm sorry, what is population of Switzerland? Means what is width of this section multiplied by what is the probability that a person in Switzerland speak German? Makes sense? Consider the number of people in the world are 100 and Switzerland population is 15. Is it? This is not true, but consider like that. Switzerland population is 15. Okay, then I'll say what is Swiss population? Then width is 15. 15 into what is the percentage of people in Switzerland they talk in English and they talk in German? 20%. Consider it is 20%. If it is 20%, then every 1 in 5 person speaks German. Means three people speak German. Now I can say that German speaking population in Switzerland is population of Switzerland. This is the width. If I say this as delta x and population and probability of a German speaking person in Switzerland, means I can say probability of a German speaking person in Switzerland into Swiss population. If I describe Swiss population as delta x, all are delta x, okay, can I write this as summation mark? Means German speaking population in Switzerland, then France, then Nigeria, then Germany, and like that. Okay, if I add all those, it becomes a German speaking person only. Makes sense. Now, consider this will come as algebra. I don't know. So, what is the formula now? How many people speak in Germany in Switzerland? How many people speak German language in France? How many people speak German language in Nigeria? Like that, all the n I have divided into n part where n is number of country. Now, if I see Switzerland, what is population of Switzerland? That is 15 into what is the percentage of people, probability or percentage, same thing. What is the percentage of people in Switzerland they speak German? That is 20%. 20%. Then it will come as population of Switzerland into probability of German. Probability of a, if I see then among the Swiss, what is the probability of German speaking person? If I consider this as x and German as y, then German as y and this is x, then it is something like that, or German as g, German language, not Germany, German language as g, then we can write as as probability how many people they speak Germany in Switzerland, how many people they speak German language in France, how many people speak the German language in Nigeria, plus plus plus. If I add all those, I find how many people speak German around the globe. Okay, makes sense. So in that fashion, now I am writing it as probability of Swiss people, okay, or number of Swiss people into number of Swiss people into probability of g conditional Swiss. Makes sense. Means if someone is Swiss, among them what is the probability of a person speaking German? Probability P sign in bracket G and then one bar or by, whatever comes to mind, S bracket close, and this side PS, probability of Swiss into probability of German by Swiss. Which what is the probability of Swiss? What is the probability of a Swiss? Okay, into probability of German by Swiss. Probability of Swiss I can consider as the width of in x-axis country list. What is the population of Swiss people? That is delta x, delta x, delta x, delta x, delta x. Can I write it as something like summation mark I equal to 1 to n, where n is number of country. I'm trying to find how many people speak Germany around the world. Summation mark I equal to 1 to n, and then population of then p p g by g by xi, where x is I is the country. Probability of g, that is German speaking person, by xi, if xi is the country, into delta xi, what is the width of that country, what is the population of country. Makes sense. Summation mark I equal to 1 to n, probability of German by g by xi into delta xi. Delta xi is the width and this is the function, that is p g by xi. This is perfect case of bringing into a matter, and that is called integration. Integration sign x equal to 0, x equal to 0 to whatever location it is, number of country. Okay, I'm sorry. Number, if I say number of country, and then pg by x, whatever it is, into dx. Someone can argue here that it is not very perfect, but it is similar to that. What is similar to that? That we will talk now. Now someone can come into this formula. Makes sense? How many people speak German is same as take every country and see how many people are speaking German in that country. German speaking person. Add it and you get the number of people speaking German around the globe. This is also a case of repeated addition, repeated summation. And how to bring repeated summation into integral calculus, that we will talk. We will retake example of the stick breaking. Means if I have repeated summation, the question is arising, if I have repeated summation, how I can convert this repeated summation into integration. That is the idea that we are bringing in. Okay, we will talk again here. Okay, now repeated addition, how we can bring it into integral calculus. We will do it again. Now consider that I have a stick. We are repeating this example. I have a stick, and a stick, I divide this stick at any position. I divide this stick at any position. If I divide this stick here, then the stick comes in two parts, this part and this part. Stick has a length of 1. One length is there. What is 1? 1 can be meter, 1 can be feet, doesn't matter. 1 is the length of the stick. And the stick I divide from any part, any place. Any place means what? Any place I divide. Okay, but I take the larger part when I divide the stick. That is the problem. If I divide a stick from here, this is origin and this is x-axis span from 0 to 1. I divide the stick from any position. Position can be here. If I divide from here, then I take the longer part of the stick and I keep it. Then I take another stick that is of unit length only. If I take another stick that is of unit length only, then again I divide the stick, and consider I divide from here, that is from origin, that is at some distance. Then I take this part because this is the longer part. Keep it. Like that, I keep dividing and take the longer part and keep it. Once I have done with the breaking down all the sticks, I take out the longer part stick collection, and then I count the size of all the stick, add it and divide by number of a stick. It will give the average length of the stick. What is the average length of the stick? That is under question mark. Whatever we are going to follow, whatever we have discussed, it is not discussed in any of the book. Typically people generally they go with the probability distribution, and then that is something called expectation, and then fx, and then x is a function of rx, and that's why we are here. Problem is people they lose interest in mathematics because the when they jump into mathematics, people start already they are ready with the probability integration calculus here and there and so many things, that he starts getting spark, electric shock. Okay, if that is the concept, then why, how we can start? So we have said that if that is the case, then you divide the stick into n part, divide the stick into n part. If you divide the stick into n part, then this is part number 1, part number 2, part number 3, part number I plus 1, and part number n divided into n part. Now I am going to break this stick only in n at n different part. Hop. I am going to break this stick. The stick breaking, what I am making, I am breaking the stick that will fall in some of the parts. Okay, means if I can break the stick only at n different parts. If I say I can break the stick, then I can break the stick at infinite position. I can break the stick at any position. If I say any position, Between 0 to 1, there can be infinite locations where I can make a cut. But right now, if I divide a stick in n parts, only at n different locations I can make a cut. Not at any infinite location I can make a cut. Makes sense? Consider the stick was of length 100. I divide into one part, one into 100 part. If stick length is 100, and then I divide this stick into 100 part. Each part is of length 1. Then maximum I can cut. If I start cutting it, then I have to make sure that the cut will go at the integer count only. Means distance, this is 0 and this is 1. The cut will go at the 1 position or 2 position or 3 position, 4 position, 5 position, 6 position, 100 position, because I have divided this 100 into 100 logical part. Cut will happen at the end of one logical part only, not everywhere. Only 100 position I can cut. Similarly, if I divide unit length stick into n different parts, then cut I will make only at the at the n location, not at infinite location. In that fashion, if I say this is the ith section, this is the first section, second section, first section, second section, third section, this is the ith section. If this is the ith section, then in that fashion, if I make a cut here in the ith section, what is the probability that I am going to cut in particular section? Is consider this is 10th section, where we have divided into n part. N can be anything. Consider I am cutting in the 10th section. What is the probability that I'll make cut in the 10th section? What is probability I'll make a cut in the first section? What this probability is normal, means it is, there is no precedence here, there is no priority here. I can cut in any section. All cutting in any section, choosing any section to cut it, I all have equal probability. To cut in any section, the probability is, if there is an n section, then to cut in any section, probability is 1 by n. 1 by n. Okay, like if I have a dice and it is going from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, then probability of getting any one is 1 by 6. Similarly, if I have n section and I can cut at any n positions only, cutting at any ith position, what is the probability? Then it is 1 by n. Okay, in that fashion, it is 1 by n. Now the question is arising that what is the average length of the stick? This is what we are into the consideration. We will talk more on it. What is the average length? Then average length, if I see, then if this probability is 1 by n, this is also called probability mass function. The height. At any position, the height is 1 by n. If I multiply with the beginning, this distance, and 1 by n, it will give the weightage of this distance when we calculate the average length of the stick. Okay, this is complex, right? Okay, I will simplify it. Now I am trying to calculate. I have broken this. I have infinite number of stick, and I broken a stick into two parts and took the larger one. I kept it, all the larger one after the breaking it. Now if I see the larger stick, if I see the all the stick, then stick are of n types only, because I have divided into n sections, right? If I cut it, then I'll cut at the in one at the end. If this is the first section, this is 0. This is the first section. I'll cut it here. Okay, this is second section. I'll cut it here. This is third section. I'll cut at the end. Means if I see all the sticks that I have kept, they are of n different length. Makes sense? Because n position only I can cut. They are of n different length. Now I am going to sort it out. How many sticks? Now I have taken the largest part. Means I start from the n by 2. Because this smaller part is not the smaller part, I threw it. So if I take the larger part, then I will start with all the stick which has of length n by 2. Makes sense? All the stick which has a length of n by 2 plus 1. All the stick which has a length of n by 2 plus 2. All the stick which has a length of, I'm sorry, I have divided into n section, and net length is 1. Means it will start from the 1 by 2. We'll start from the 1 by 2. How many sticks are of length 1 by 2? One side. How many sticks are of length 1 by 2 plus 1 by n? Makes sense? Because each section has 1 by n length. How many sticks are of 1 by 2 plus 1 by n? How many sticks are 1 by 2 plus 2 by n? Like that, if I proceed, how many sticks are of length 1? Now these are, so if this is n by 2, then the number of stick we are getting, they are of n by 2 different lengths, because we have taken the bigger one and it starts from the half only. So it starts from the half and then bigger, bigger, bigger. So if I divide a stick into n parts, all the larger stick I have, they are in n by 2 different sizes. Now I assemble it in different sections, where all the number of section I have categorized all the stick, where number of section is n by 2. Now first section, that is of width of half, how many they are? How many they are? Then in that fashion, how many they are into 1 by 2? That is the weight of this 1 by 2 stick calculation is the net stick calculation. What is net stick calculation? If I don't divide, consider, if I don't divide, segregate these sticks into different categories, I just keep counting it. Take one stick, measure the length. Take one stick, measure the length. Now add all the length, divide by number of a stick. That is the average length. Add all the length. If you add all the length, call it capital L. In capital L, what is the weightage of the stick whose length is 1 by 2? Plus, what is the weightage of the stick whose length is 1 by 2 plus 1 by n? Plus, what is the weightage of the stick whose length is 1 by 2 plus 1 by n, 2 by n, like that. Then I can write like this also. Means in capital L, total length, what is the weightage of the stick that is of length 1 by 2? If I see here, if I see here, then probability of cutting at any location is 1 by n. 1 by n. I consider this is the, I draw a pie chart, bar chart. Everywhere bar chart is 1 by n. In n different section, bar chart is 1 by n. If I multiply 1 by n with the length, not from the origin, with the length. If this 1 by n bar chart is happen to be greater than middle, then it is 1 by n into this length, plus this is the weightage of this length into 1 by n. If I multiply with the height and this is the weightage of this length when we calculate the net, that is capital L. When we are calculating summation of all the stick length, then this is the weightage. This length into 1 by n, this is the weightage. What is the weight of each length? Now I'll go back with one more example. This is what we kept giving. Another example is, consider there is a class and this is the marks: 1 mark, 2 mark, 3 mark, 4 mark, 5 mark, like 100 marks. There are 4 students, they have got 50 marks. 3 students has 60 marks, 1 student got 70 marks, and 2 students have got 40 marks. In that fashion, there are 10 students attended the examination. What is the average mark? If I try to calculate average mark, then I'll just go and see every student's mark. What is your mark? My marks is 40. What is your mark? My mark is 60. What is your mark? Mark is 50. Just add everything, divide by 10. This is one way. So in the addition of all the marks, what is the weightage of the marks 50? That is under question mark. What is the weightage of mark 60? What is the weightage of mark 70? And what is the weightage of mark 40? If I have summation of all the marks, in summation of all the marks, the weightage of 50 is 50 into 4. That much weight that carry. That is the marks multiplied by the height. At 50, there are 4 students. So height is height into x, x into function over x. Height into x is the weightage of this mark. That will give the actual length of this marks in the final addition. Weightage of 40 is 40 into 2. Weightage of 60 is 60 into 3. Weightage of 70 70 into 1. Similarly, if I am talking about the length of the stick, If I take any position here, what is the height? Height is 1 by n, but 1 by n is the probability. In student mark, the height was number of students. I can rephrase that as probability only. Means in the student mark at 50, the number of students are 4 by 10. Out of 10, 4 are there. 4 by 10. At 60, number of students are 3 by 10. At 70, number of students are 1 by 10. And 40, number of students are 2 by 10. Then what is the average mark? No need to divide now. Just multiply by the marks into the probability. That is 4 by 10. 50 into 4 by 10 plus 40 into 2 by 10 plus 60 into 3 by 10 plus 70 into 1 by 10. Just add it, you get the average mark. Similarly, here also we have height as 1 by n. Multiply by the distance, you get the net weightage of this length. Similarly, add all the weightage, you get the average length. Makes sense? What is average length now? Average length is x into 1 by n. I mean, what is the distance here? This is I. ith section. This is the first section, second section, third section, ith section, nth section. Ith section, what is distance of this ith section? I by n, provided one section length is 1 by n. Then it is I by n. I by n into 1 by n. Okay, if I sum it, summation of I equal to 1 to n, I by n into 1 by n, it will give me the average length of the stick, the way we calculate average length of the student. Marks into 4 by 10, mark plus marks into 2 by 10. Similarly, here, length from the origin into the probability 1 by n. Summation I equal to 1 to n, I by n, that is the distance, ith section, into 1 by n, that is the probability. But here problem is that we are not taking the distance from the origin, we are taking the length of the stick. So I by n will work only when the I is more than the half, then we take from the origin, that is the length. If I is less than the half, then we have to take other distance, that is 1 minus I by n. Now it is broken into two parts. Now it is summation I equal to 1 to n by 2, 1 minus I by n into 1 by n plus this is for I less than I less than n by 2. For I more than n by 2 plus summation I equal to n by 2 plus 1 to n, I by n into 1 by n. Now idea is, can I convert into calculus? So just for simplicity, take the first summation only, that is integration I equal to 1 to n I by n into 1 by n. Can I convert into integral calculus? That is the question mark. Now we will start again. How to convert a repeated summation into integration? That is a big question that is arising now. How we can convert? Let's consider that I have x-axis. If I have x-axis, consider that I am talking about 0 to alpha. 0 to alpha on x-axis. Consider I divide it into n different sections. 0 to alpha section of x-axis, I divide into n different sections. In that fashion, my expression is I equal to 1 to n delta xi summation. First section, second, not required that all section the width is same, but we have n number of section between 0 and alpha. What is the total addition? Total addition of this length, that will become alpha actually. That is summation mark I equal to 0 to n delta xi. If I where delta x is the width of each section, if I add it, it will become alpha, where all delta x are non overlapping each other, mutually exclusive, they become addition, and mutually independent, they become multiplication. Probability is game. We are entering into other arena called probability. We have seen vector technology, we have seen calculus technology, we have seen algebra, and now it is probability. Probability, like I always say, 3D graphics is a game of vertices. If you understand the game of vertices, you understand the 3D graphics. Similarly, the kind of uh, Electronics. Electronics is a game of resistance. If you understand the concept of resistance, then quickly you will understand voltage and current fundamentals also. Then quickly you will understand the complex resistance, variable resistance, and sine theta, cos theta, I, J, K, many things comes in the e to the power, Euler's formula, everything. Just understand the concept of resistance. Electronics is a game of resistance. Okay, similarly, now we are entering into game of probability, and probability is a game of mutual exclusive and independence. You understand mutual exclusion and you understand the independent. Independent leads to multiplication and mutual exclusive leads to summation. If this intricacy someone understands, then probability statistics is his only. Now here all delta x are mutually exclusive to each other. Then net sum it will go to in a summation arena. Summation sign I equal to 1 to n delta xi. This can be written as dx because we are trying to add all the delta x which are mutually exclusive to each other and they will form x axis. I know that much. In that fashion, this is a fit candidate to say the integration of dx from x is 0 to alpha. No. But integration means multiplication, right? Integration means calculating the area where you have two sides. That is called integration. Where one side is x-axis and another side is vertical. We generally say y-axis, fx. Yes. We can rewrite it. Summation sign I equal to 1 to n, 1 into delta xi. Makes sense? Everywhere 1 is there. What is your 1? 1 is the height. Come on, you said that you have everything in x-axis where height came. No, there is a height also hidden. What is height now? Now there is a function called fx and its height is always 1. Means actually I'm talking about rectangle. Okay, you are talking about rectangle. Yeah, I'm talking about rectangle. Then what is this? Summation sign I equal to 1 to n delta x I understood that you are adding all the section. What is now summation sign I equal to 1 to n 1 into delta xi? Actually, I am talking about area. What area? If this is delta x1, then height is 1, this area. Then delta x2 height is 1, this area, where x1 and x2 may not be the same. This area, this area, this area. Okay, what is fx dx? fx dx. fx dx means if I have a function over x, then fx dx is area underneath. Fx is 1, then fx is 1 means I have a line vertical. I have a line parallel to x axis. Vertical is 1 everywhere. If I try to calculate that area, that is 1 dx, because 1 is the fx, 1 dx integration from 0 to alpha. Consider same here. How it is same here? Because we are in section by section, we are calculating summation. First section, height is 1, width is delta xi. Height is 1, width is delta x2. Height is 1, width is delta x3. Delta x1, delta x2, delta x3. Like that, you are actually, looks like you, when I am saying 1 dx integration 0 to alpha, that is a rectangle of height 1 and 0 to alpha. This is what I'm trying to, yeah, I broke into different part only. I'm adding it, then it will become 1 dx. Means if someone is saying summation sign I equal to 1 to n delta xi, it can be written as dx x in dx integration limit is 0 to alpha. Same thing. But actually, the behind scene story is like this. You have to fulfill the need. Actually, summation sign I equal to 1 to n fx function over x delta xi is actually fx dx 0 to alpha. 0 to alpha, not 0 to n, mind it. Okay, how it is? Because if I say fx delta xi, then this is the delta xi and fx is the height. This is the area of one strip. If I say fx dx integration, then fx is a function and I'm trying to calculate its area from x equal to 0 to alpha. Now this area I chop into n part, where each part area is fx into delta xi. Now I can freely write a summation I equal to 1 to n delta xi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n 1 into delta xi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n fxi delta xi, where fxi is always 1. Now it is something like we are doing summation of fxi. Fx is height. and delta x is width. That will compute an area. That is the ith area. If I add all the areas whose are mutual exclusive to each other, I get fx dx. So same thing equal to means summation sign I equal to 1 to n, I equal to 1 to n, fx I equal to 1 to n delta xi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n 1 into delta xi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n fxi delta xi, where fxi is constant 1 equal to integration 0 to alpha, because we divided 0 to alpha into n section, 0 to alpha fx dx, where fx is 1, dx means more or less summation 1 equal to 1 I equal to 1 to n delta xi become dx. People generally write like this, but this is the behind the story. Okay, we will proceed now. Now we said that average length of a stick is summation I equal to 1 to n I by n into 1 by n, where actual is summation I equal to 1 to n by 2 1 minus I by n into 1 by n plus when I is less than n by 2 plus summation I equal to n by 2 plus 1 up to n I by n into 1 by n when I is greater than n by 2 half. But altogether we take in this fashion only. Summation I equal to 1 to n I by n into 1 by n. Now this I have to bring into calculus. Throw away I by n also. Leave the I by n. Summation of I equal to 1 to n. 1 by n I have to transform into integral calculus. Now this is the requirement. What is 1 by n? Now 1 by n is if I divide this unit length into n number of different parts. Consider n is 1000. N is 1000. And in that fashion 1 by n is the height of one section. One section, one section, one section, one section, one section, one section. How I can write it as integral calculus. Consider 1 by n is fx. Makes sense? Consider fx is x square. Consider fx is x square. Now between 0 to 1, I have a formula called fx equal to x. Fx equal to x. If I draw, it will come as a triangle. When x equal to 0, height is 0. When x equal to 0.25, height is 0.25. 0.5 height is 0.5. At 1 height is 1. This is fx. Now consider I am trying to write now 0 to 1 I divide into n parts. N part. If I divide into n part, then what is the summation of all the bar? At every n part, every section, I'm getting one bar. If I divide 0 to 1 into 10 parts, then first part is 0 to 0.1, 0.1 to 0.2, 0.2 to 0.3, like that. There are 10 lines now. Okay, one first line is of length 0.1, 0.2, 0.3, last is of 1. Now my equation is summation I equal to 1 to n, where n is 10 right now, and then fxi function over xi in the ith section, in function over xi in the ith, what is the height? Now it is more or less equal to 0.1 plus 0.2 plus 0.3 plus 0.4 plus 0.5 up to up to up to 1. Okay, this is the summation we are talking about. Can I convert into integral calculus? Consider n tends to infinity. Summation of I equal to 1 to n tends to infinity, and fx at x equal to xi. Okay, where I have divided into n part from 0 to 1 only. Is it same as fx dx, where x is 0 to 1? Certainly not. This is the intricacy of converting the repeated summation into integration. What it is. Now, the way I said, integration from in the stick section, integration summation sign I equal to 1 to n, 1 by n. I kicked out I by n also. How it can be converted into integral calculus. Similarly, now we have given summation of I equal to 1 to n fx, where x at x equal to xi. If this is the summation, how I can convert to integral calculus? If I see integral calculus fx dx 0 to 1, it will become x dx, that will become x square by 2, that will become 1 by 2, 1 by 2. If I cut into 10 sections, if I add all, then will it become 1 by 2? Certainly not. It will become very high. If I cut into 100 sections and then add all the fxi, it will become very high. Probably it will become more than 10 or something like that. But idea is I have to get 1 by 2. How to, what is your requirement? Requirement is summation I equal to 1 to n fxi. This I have to convert into integral calculus. Because integral calculus means area. If I draw 0 to 1, fx equal to x, it will give a triangle like this. Where at x equal to 1, it is a perpendicular and it is like this. There is a triangle, area of triangle. If I say fx dx, x is 0 to 1, this is area of the triangle. But I have chopped this into n part, and every part we have fx. Okay, if I add all those, it will be much higher than this area, but I have to bring into integral calculus, that is summation of I equal to 1 to n fx. How I can bring into integral calculus? If I go with direct summation, then it is very high amount. Then you have to go with the area. Now we have to, what is requirement now? I have summation I equal to 1 to n fx at x equal to xi. Okay, where n is number of chopping, I have made 0 to 1 on x-axis. How it will be equal to fx dx x equal to 0, 1? How it is possible? Both are same. Here also fx is 1 by x. Here also fx is 1 by x. No, because anyone can see here result is 1 by 2, x square by 2, 1 by 2. And here result is very high. 0, 0. If I divide in 10 section, or if I divide in 5 section also, then it will be 0, 0 plus 0 0.2 plus 0 0.4 plus 0 0.6. Now here only it is growing more than 1 only. So both are not same. Okay, if I take the summation where we are summing all the vertical bar, if I multiply the vertical bar with the width in between the each bar, we have taken n number of snapshot between 0 and 1. If this is, if this is 0 and this is 1, we have taken n number of snapshot. Within any two snapshot, we have a width. Okay, if I multiply this height at any snapshot with the width, I get the area of this section. If there is a triangle like this, that is fx equal to x, triangle like this, if I divide this triangle into n part, that if I, then I can take, there are n number of area here, first area, second area, third area, fourth area, fifth area, nth area. If I add all the area, I get fx dx 0 to 1. Okay, in that fashion, if I take any bar, if I multiply with the distance between the next bar, I get what I want. Okay, means what I want? I want is summation I equal to 1 to n fx into delta xi, where delta xi is gap between any two bar. Then I get the sub area section. Rather than just adding the height, I am adding the sub area height. If I add all the sub area height, I am getting this area, and then that is fx dx. Both are not same. If I say summation fx, summation I equal to 1 to n fxi, that is exactly not same as summation of I equal to 1 to n fxi delta xi. They are not same. Okay, why they are not, why they are not same? Why they are not same? Okay, they are not same because they are not same. Why they are not same? They are not same. Straightforward, they are not same. If I just add all the bar, and all the bar if I add, because this will be infinitesimally small. If I divide 1 into 10 sections, and now I am writing summation of I equal to 1 to n fxi into delta xi, where each delta xi is 0.1, 0.1, because we have divided into 10 sections. Each size is 1 by 10. Now every height I am multiplying with 1 by 10. If I am every height we are multiplying by 1 or 10, we are altering the height, where we are adding the full height, that is 1 by 10 plus 1 by 10, 1 by 10 plus 2 by 10 plus 3 by 10. This is what we are adding. Here 1 by 10 into 1 by 10 plus 2 by 10 into 1 by 10 plus 3 by 10 into 1 by 10, because every height we are multiplying by delta xi, but we have to do it because we want to convert it to integral calculus. Integral calculus is the area. We are trying to get the sub area and add it. then you have to settle it down. Okay, that is summation of I equal to 1 to fxi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n gxi into delta xi. Now function will change so that they should come to the same stage. What is that function? Now someone has to find. Now it is integral calculus. Summation of I equal to 1 to n fxi equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n gxi delta xi, where gxi into delta xi is same as fxi. Now we can write it as integration 0 to x 0 to 1. It is up to 1 gx dx. Okay, means the fxi I have to alter in a fashion that fxi, whatever height I taken which type, new height that will come if I multiply new height with the delta x, it will become fxi. Makes sense? That is gxi. I have to transform fxi into gxi. Then it should become 1. Then it should be same. How it will be? Fxi equal to gxi delta xi. Gxi equal to fxi by delta xi, then it will be same. Now let's rephrase it. We are trying to calculate the stick length, that is summation of I equal to 1 to n I by n into 1 by n. If I kick out I by n, summation of I equal to 1 to n 1 by n. 1 by n is fx. So summation of I equal to 1 to n fx equal to summation of I equal to 1 to n gx delta xi. Now gx equal to gx delta x equal to fx. Gx equal to fx by delta x. Fx is 1 by n. Delta x what we are taking, each delta x is again 1 by n. 1 by n by 1 by n means 1. Now we can convert it into summation I equal to 1 to n 1 by n into integral calculus is summation of I equal to 1 to n gx delta xi. That is summation of, now it will come to integration of 0 to 1. So x is 0 to 1 only, gx dx. That is 1 dx. Makes sense? Now we will rewrite now. Means if someone wants to convert summation I equal to 1 to n fx into delta x, directly he can convert fx dx 0 to, now x will change 0 to whatever x is, not n. Here it is alpha or 1, whatever. But if the summation is 0 to n fx, then I have to find gx, for which gx delta x is fx. That is 1 here. Now someone can proceed. I believe, please watch our previous video. There we have solved it. Now the net stick length is summation of I equal to 1 to n 1 minus I by n bracket close into 1 by n plus, this is when I is less than n by 2 half. I equal to n by 2 plus 1 or n by 2 whatever it is up to n I by n into 1 by n. This is more or less integration, more or less the 1 by n, both sides we are saying 1 by n is fx, that will be converted into 1 into delta xi, because gx is 1 now. Now it will can be rewritten as summation I equal to 1 to n by 2 1 minus I by n into 1 into delta xi, that is 1 by n, plus summation of I equal to n by 2 plus 1 to n I by n into 1 delta xi, that is 1 by n. Now gxi delta fx converted into gxi delta xi, gxi delta xi. It can be rewritten as integration from 0 to half. X is 0 to half 1 minus x distance from here if I take, then 1 minus x into 1 into dx, 1 by minus x dx. This is not there in any of the book. Plus integration half to 1 x into 1 into dx, x dx. Then it will give the average length of the stick. So key arena of converting any repeated summation into integration is that make sure that when you convert into integration, you are calculating the area. And if you're and whereas summation, when you're calculating in it may not be the area, it will be only the vertical lines we are adding. We have to convert into area first, and then you can convert into integration. If summation is of repeated area, where each area is a subsection of the bigger area and all are mutually exclusive, then you can make it as a bigger area altogether, that is integration gx dx. Makes sense? Okay, please do not mind supporting us. +91 is the India country code, 9483160610 is the telephone number. +91 is the India country code, 9483160610 is the telephone number. Now person can understand, if stick length was 10, consider stick length was 10, and then I made into n part, that is 100 part I made, then each part probability is 1 by n. 1 by n, that is 1 by 10. 1 by n, I'm sorry, each part length is 10 by 100, that is 1 by 10. 1 by 10 only. In that case, how I can proceed into calculus? Okay, it can be done. Take it as an assignment.